make a living. Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it grow, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, good morning from Paradise Surf family. My name is Crypto Amaru. We have the whole surf crew in the house. It is Tuesday, October 21st. The markets are a little bit red, but we're feeling great, ladies and gentlemen. We got many great stories to share with you. Bullish, bullish, bullish. You guys know us. We're the Perma Bulls out here trying to bring some positivity, some light into your life. That's what we're here to do today, folks. So we got some good stories today. Gold is looking toppy. Gold is looking real toppy. Does this mean money's going to finally flow into Bitcoin? My goodness, feels like I've been waiting an eternity for that to happen. Coinbase decided to buy a $25 million NFT. Why the hell would Coinbase spend $25 million on an NFT? They must be printing money like no one's business. We got some other stories for you today, folks. So let's just get right to the gold topic. What do we see here, Nate?
Well, a lot of people looking at the gold chart, it has, I mean, it was, what, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, sometime within the last 3 to 6 months, gold hit $20 trillion. And we were talking about how that was crazy, that gold doubled. It took forever to get to 10 trillion. And we were just talking last cycle that, wow, gold 10 trillion. Imagine if Bitcoin gets there. Well, now we're at 30 trillion. It added $10 trillion in market cap in a matter of months. So looking very toppy, looking very overheated. But what happens when gold starts to cool off? Are people just going to go right back into dollars? Probably unlikely. I would imagine things like Bitcoin, some of that money is going to cycle in. Well, this is what it would look like. Currently, Bitcoin right around a 107 there, and with a $30 trillion market cap. Now, for just 1% of that of gold's market cap flows into Bitcoin, that's going to push Bitcoin to 134,000. Now, 5% of that market cap puts us at almost at the Hitman's gold number there, $42,391. So maybe that Tom Lee scenario by the end of the year hitting 250K, maybe the Nostradamus's prediction will still come true before January 1st if some of that gold market cap starts trickling over into the digital gold Bitcoin.
Yeah, and we do know that there's usually an 80-day delay. So Bitcoin usually follows gold on an 80-day lag, and the time is ticking as gold did start to break out in August. So we'll see if that keeps coming. That means that Bitcoin should catch a bid pretty rapidly, end of this month, early next month. And what do you know? There is some fundamentals that might do that. There's a meeting with the Fed today that we're going to talk about. There's interest rate cuts at the end of October, and there will be Trump and China shaking hands on November 1st. So a lot of things lining up. Is it all a big coincidence, or should you see the writing on the wall and start rotating from gold to Bitcoin? We did full videos saying that, hey, our target was 39 to 4,000 on gold. We could see a run up to 4,200. At 4,400, we did full videos saying, hey, guys, this is going to be the top. You need to rotate from gold to Bitcoin, or we prefer Ethereum. And right now, gold just came off a double top at that 4,400 level and is back down below 4,200 per ounce. Meanwhile, gold's still sitting here around 110. So here's the chart that Nate is going to pull up here. This is what I keep talking about with the 80-day delay, and look where that sends Bitcoin if it follows in the footsteps of gold.
I think it's coming, boys and girls. I think it's coming. Great data for y'all. The one question in my mind, I'm so glad you pulled up this chart. I'm so glad you pulled up this chart because this was also tweeted by another influencer. But it was used to sort of demonstrate that perhaps the Bitcoin market is being manipulated and suppressed. The price is being suppressed. We know there's manipulation in these markets, particularly on the perpetuals and leverage side of things. Do you guys lend much credence to this notion, this theory that the markets are being somehow purposefully suppressed by the whales or the exchanges or the power of the miners? I don't know who's doing it, but do you lend credence to that, or is that just some weird conspiracy theory?
I mean, I don't put anything past them anymore. Who knows who it is or why they're doing it? It's probably not one individual party. It's probably a group of people. They're all trying to get an edge. They're all trying to, we see the Wyckoff accumulation distribution patterns. Yeah, there's all sorts of reasons or things that could be. Is it one cabal of, George Soros sitting behind a button saying, suppress Bitcoin? I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that simple. But I mean, certainly if you look at what happened with the $19 billion in liquidations, that all points back to Binance. And if, Binance can have that much control and that much of an impact on the market, it's not too hard to believe that, a few billionaires out there that can know how to manipulate liquidity and have some hold over some of these exchanges in the background to be able to manipulate to at least some extent the market as much as the traditional markets or the dollar. I don't think so by a long shot.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think if you look at the 80-day delay, if this continues to go on like this, then yeah, you can maybe say, hey, there might be some manipulation. But really, if you look at gold kind of did the same thing from April to August, consolidation to lower, and then exploded. Bitcoin's supposed to be on an 80-day lag, right? So consolidation to lower since July. Now we should be looking to go parabolic and start heading higher. So let's wait and see. Let's wait. If this is still going on down and to the right through November, then maybe we need to take a look because everything says that Bitcoin should go higher. Gold says Bitcoin should go higher. M2 money supply says Bitcoin should go higher. The 4-year halving cycle says Bitcoin should go higher. Michael Saylor dumping in hundreds of millions says Bitcoin should go higher. So everything's pointing to higher. And if we get, like I said, through the end of October, end of November, we're still down and to the right, then maybe we can scream manipulation. Otherwise, I mean, the data shows, hey, we're supposed to be on this lag. We're on the lag. Let's see what happens here in the next 20, 30, 40 days.
Yeah, I personally don't. I'm not a big believer in conspiracy theories generally, although these financial markets that are very opaque and easily manipulate because of the low liquidity makes it easier to believe that, okay, there are nefarious actors behind the scenes that are manipulating the price for their own benefit. And if there's a bunch of them, they're kind of working together, okay, you could see that happening. I think it mostly to do with just where we are in the cycle. Remember, too, there's a lot of old OG Bitcoiners that, they had fucking diamond hands. Shout out to them. And they bought it $100 and they're selling and they have like 10 billion worth of Bitcoin. I mean, we keep seeing story after story. I don't consider that manipulation. I just think, hey, it's a relatively immature asset class. There's people that bought it for super cheap. They're selling billions. There aren't necessarily that many buyers who are looking to accumulate right now at these levels outside of Michael Saylor and some institutions. Retail certainly doesn't want to buy 100K Bitcoin at the moment when it's on a dip. So I think it's more likely just whale selling and not a ton of buyers and attentions on gold. But yeah, there's manipulation. Yeah, there's shadiness that goes on in crypto. But to Nate's point, probably to this similar degree that these other financial markets have. So yeah, good morning, guys. We want to hear your take. Is Bitcoin being manipulated and suppressed, or is this just, hey, this part of the cycle and nothing to worry about, and we're up only in November? Anywho, what's the next? Yeah, you want to share? I mean, I love
this is speaking of kind of conspiracy theories or new theories about the cycle. I've seen all kinds of stuff in the last couple weeks. We've seen it's not the 4-year cycle. It's the not the 4-year Bitcoin cycle. It has nothing to do with the halving. It's actually the business cycle that has to do with this other thing. And we've seen all these different scenarios in which there's super cycle this or extended cycle that or. I think the one thing we know is that this cycle is different, but nobody knows how or why or what exactly is different about it. Does it mean it's going to go longer? Is it going to end exactly at the same time? Yes, we got all-time high before the halving, which has never happened before. We've seen the difference in, we haven't really had this very clear and defined Bitcoin into Ethereum, into large caps, into alts. We had memes do their thing. There's so many different variables. Cycle is different. But does that mean it's guaranteed super cycle? Absolutely not. Now, this is a new one that I just saw today pop up, saying that we're in phase 0, and that's gold runs. And then gold flows into Bitcoin, and that flows into, and then on and on and on and on. To me, this is a little far-fetched. I mean, Bitcoin's already up almost 10x. It's hard to say that we haven't had a phase 1, that we haven't had Bitcoin bull run. January 15, 2020, or January 2023 was what, 15,000 Bitcoin? We hit 126, like 8.5x or something like that. Like, you can't not say that we haven't had a Bitcoin bull run. Like, I think that's irrefutable. But yes, we haven't seen the other things. Is it because of gold? I don't know.
Yeah, this is pretty funny. I mean, a lot of people we see here, I see more and more influencers on X saying the top is in, that is bullish. Yeah, a lot of people on crypto Twitter are either saying the cycle's over or we're somewhere in like the orange down there, the phase overlap between phase 3 and 4. We've been on here saying we're probably still in the green. We kind of just finished the Bitcoin one. We're kind of somewhere in the Ethereum rally because Ethereum still hasn't gone to an all-time high in the past 4 or 5 years. So I don't think we're in phase 0, but I do still think we're early in phase 2 or in the green above phase 2 because Ethereum still no new all-time high. Ethereum strategic reserves continue to buy, and we haven't even seen RWA really mature yet. And that's what BlackRock is pushing for, trying to tokenize assets, and those assets and stablecoins will be tokenized on Ethereum. And that is why I believe that we're just in a more elongated cycle. The Bitcoin phase 1 lasted way longer than it did in previous cycles. Like you said, we went to new all-time highs before the halving even happened. So that would play out that we're in phase 2, and we still have phase 3, phase 4 through the end of this year into 2026, and we'll see how long we can go into 2026. That's what's going to be interesting. You know, you have Arthur Hayes on one side saying we're going to 27 or 28 until Trump is out of power. You have us saying we're going to 2026, and you have other crypto influencers and Bollinger Bands saying we topped out already before we even saw that recent all-time high 2 weeks ago on Bitcoin. So who's going to be right? We shall see, but I think the macros say that we have longer and higher to go for these crypto markets.
Yeah.
Now,
this is sick. Great comments. Great comments. Yeah. Nick, what the hell are you talking about? 30 seconds. It hit all-time high. I mean, he's, NJ Dub's right. I mean, we can't say we're in phase 2. Look, I think the phase is, what's happening in crypto now, it's fascinating to me because if you're on crypto Twitter, if you're living in Telegram like we have been for the 8 years that we've been here in this industry full time, you're very indoctrinated into the sort of this notion of the historical cycles based on the halving. Because, yeah, okay, sure, that's how things played out in the past. And so everyone in crypto Twitter is in their silo believing that. But if you start with the assumption that crypto, and particularly Bitcoin and Ethereum, and to some degree Solana now, are fully ingratiated and connected to the rest of the financial markets, not something separate and apart that weirdos are investing in, and it's a very low liquidity, very small market cap asset class, but we're now in this much bigger environment of all the trillions of dollars that are in 401ks and the 30 trillion that's now the market cap of gold, and everything's connected, from the macro standpoint because of what the Fed does, right? If you come from that assumption, then you can kind of throw those old narratives out the window, and you can look to what is the rest of the financial market doing, and then you can anticipate, what's going to happen next. So I actually think this is a little bit clever. Phase 0 gold. I mean, God, we just saw a tremendous gold run. Bitcoin's sort of consolidating here. I know it did go on a big run over the past couple of years here, but certainly has room to go. So I don't know, man. I think we're in a brave new world. It's all connected to the rest of the financial markets. So right now it's gold's turn, but Bitcoin's next.
Well, someone else thinks Bitcoin is next. CZ predicting Bitcoin will flip gold. Not giving a timeline on it. Mike says it will take some time, but save the tweet. Gold, as we said, over 30 trillion market cap now. Bitcoin sit a little over 2, so a 15x on the market cap of Bitcoin to get to the market cap of gold. That would be pretty wild.
You're muted, Nick, but we got some great comments here.
I think the hardest hurdle for Bitcoin isn't the adoption, but I think it's the gold supply just mooning. I mean, China just announced again they found another vein of gold that's worth like $10 trillion. You got the $700 trillion asteroid that Elon's trying to mine. Like, I think what gets in the way of Bitcoin catching gold is just gold being found, being developed, and now they're creating lab gold, just like they create lab diamonds. So we'll see how all this plays out. That's going to take another 5, 10, 15, 20 years before lab gold becomes a thing. But it'll be interesting to see what that does to price of actual gold.
CZ's absolutely right. I think that Bitcoin will flip gold. It may take 30 years. It may take for basically the youth now to be the ones with the money. Who has money now, guys? It ain't Gen Z. It certainly ain't my kids, Gen Alpha. It's barely millennials. Some of us are doing well. Many are struggling. It's the boomers. The boomers got all the money because of all the accumulated wealth they made on real estate and the stock market going up, et cetera, et cetera. Boomers hate crypto for the most part. I mean, they're marching the streets, down with King Trump, crypto's a scam, blah, blah, blah. So we need them to sort of pass to the next realm, as I like to say in a very gentle manner, and some of that wealth to be inherited by those who actually care about digital assets and not the analog, ridiculous yellow rock that is gold. And then, yes, we will see Bitcoin eventually flip, but this could be a 30-year story rather than a 5-year thing or 2-year thing that most crypto degens, I'm sure, would want to see. So, yes, we are pretty rich. We are pretty rich, Ron. How do you avoid the gold diggers? Find a nice woman now who loves you for who you are. How's that? How's that? I assume there's Tinder where you're at. That might work. Who knows? But yeah, or embrace the gold digger. Jeff Bezos doesn't seem to mind to have a gold digger wife. She looks pretty good for.
That's because he's got more money than he knows what to spend on anyways. You got to be on the next level to embrace a gold digger. Like have so much money that you literally don't care.
Exactly. Yeah. Even if she takes half, I'm still the richest man in the world, so I don't give a fuck. But
Keep
yeah.
the pimp hand strong, playa.
Go ahead, Nate.
Oh, I just said, keep your pimp hand strong, player.
There you go. There you go. Gold to 5K before ETH. That would be depressing, but God, could happen. We're at 4,300 gold. I mean,
let's take a look. Let's take a look at the charts and see what gold looks like here. I will say, this would be a bearish chart if you're on any asset besides maybe the FOMO of gold. You got the double top here where it couldn't get above previous high. This is exactly where we said it was going to stop. This is where we did the video saying to sell your gold right here, and then it double topped a few days later, and then now we have gone to a lower low. So when you double top and go to a lower low, that's usually a bearish indicator, and you still have downside here because RSI is still neutral. Technometer could still drop a lot before it gets oversold. I mean, gold could get back into this range of 3,900 to 4,000 pretty easily, and we'll see what happens. Now, talking about manipulated markets, the market that could be very heavily manipulated, and probably was in order to put $10 trillion onto it, would be the gold markets. Why? Because we do know the China government was buying, other government entities were buying and pushing up price. But we'll see what happens. We think the top is in on gold. We think that Bitcoin and Ethereum will outperform gold for the foreseeable future, the next 3, 6, 12 months. And hopefully we're right on that because there was a lot of euphoria. This is what's crazy about gold. Gold did a 32% breakout, and the euphoria was immense. Lines out the doors, everybody talking about it. Your grandma, your uncle, your neighbor talking about gold on a puny 32% gain. We need some gains in crypto. We need those people to get involved with crypto because they will be FOMOing and YOLOing, selling their house, selling their car, buying Bitcoin if they get excited about a 32% breakout on gold.
Well, the thing about
this literally did the meme.
It's a straight line up. There was barely any consolidation. There was no dumps. It was just a pump for 2-3 months here. The S&P 500 is up 35% since April, but no one seems to be. I mean, I know there's some FOMO on AI stocks, but for the most part, no one's talking about S&P 500 run. And it's because there's been some choppiness, right? This has just been a straight line up. And who knows, maybe China's behind the manipulation. I like that story. Who knows if it's true. But, yeah, I do think, look, we only need what? It's 5% of the new money having gone in this gold trade to trickle down to Bitcoin to reach 244,000. You don't think there's 5% of the people who bought gold recently who are savvy and saying, okay, I'm looking for the next big run here, and even if it's 2%, we're still going to have a great end of Q4 and beginning of 2026 for Bitcoin. So and there's guys.
There's other money out there besides just the gold profits. There's over 7.5 trillion cash in the money market funds alone now. So I mean that it continues to grow. And remember, money market funds are really APR is derived from what the interest rates are. And we know that interest rates are supposed to get cut again in October and potentially again in November, December, January, February, March. Like there's going to be multiple cuts going on. If interest rates continue to fall, the APR in the money markets drops, these people will be forced to look to other investments. Maybe people want to earn 2% on their money or 3%, but when inflation is 2 to 3%, you're really just breaking even. So I expect a lot of this sideline money coupled with price performance of stocks and Bitcoin and the depreciation of their APR they earn by being in the money market, forcing some of these millions and trillions of dollars to find their way back into Bitcoin, gold, stocks, whatever it may be. We've been talking about this for a while, and the money market funds just continue to rise as people are sidelined during the most hated rally in a very long time in stocks and gold, and I think Bitcoin is going to follow soon as well.
I took all my money out of my money market last year because I saw this coming. I thought it was going to happen a little bit sooner with the rate cuts. But glad I wasn't, holding out. I'm glad I moved into stocks because I made a lot more money doing that. But yeah, people I think have this uninformed notion that there just isn't that much money to go around. Everyone's broke. How can they afford to buy Bitcoin and these financial assets? And yeah, your neighbor Joe, who works at Starbucks. Yeah, sure, he's broke, but there's guys, and there's family offices, and there's hedge funds, and there's BlackRock, and we're talking about trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in the financial markets. 7.2 trillion is in these money markets, right? And even if a fraction, right? Even if plenty of them are deciding that it's wiser to just keep their money in there and earn 2%. Even if a fraction say, you know what, I'm going to get a little more risk on because my financial advisor called and said to do that, we are going to have an avalanche of money flowing into risk assets, including Bitcoin.
I mean, Nate, what is 7.5 trillion? That's like 2x the entire crypto market ecosystem.
That's
people are like, where's the money? It's like you have more money in US-based financial money markets than 2x the entire crypto space. That's wild.
Yeah, let's see. Today, total crypto market cap just under 3.8 trillion.
So almost 2x. That's crazy.
We are early. You are early. You're all pre-rich. Hopefully, you invest in the right things. That's the challenge.
I saw a video. I'll have to pull up this clip maybe later this week and do a little video or maybe go a little deeper on it. But one of the things that the Genius Act did, we've talked a lot about stable coins. Why is the U.S. government all on board with stable coins? And we kind of talked about how it's essentially a backdoor money printing mechanism for them. And I have to get the exact number, but I believe it's $3.2 trillion is currently tied up in reserves that cannot be moved. They're cash or cash equivalent assets that are tied up. The Genius Act frees those up to be used in stable coins. So essentially, it's because the Genius Act, as these stable coins start coming online, it's freeing up $3 trillion plus in cash that can flow back into markets via stable coins. I'll get some more detailed information on that going forward. But yeah, and talking about tidal wave of money, look at the M2 supply, look at gold, look at how much money is sidelined right now with all the retirement funds, etc. That's all being opened up. It's not going to happen all at once, but it could. If that's how we get one after the other, and money's printing, rates are being cut. That's the scenario I see where we could have this Arthur Hayes bull run into 2028.
Amen, brother. Avalanche of money, it's coming. It might take a little bit more time than people want, but from my standpoint, much more likely that we have a melt up over the next 6 months, 1 year, for all the reasons you stated, then we have a meltdown and a crash just because it's been 1,043 days and 25 seconds since the last top or whatever. So we're bullish. Hope you guys are too. Any other stories you wanted to cover today?
Yeah, let's cover some Ethereum news. First of all, let's look at the Ethereum chart. You can see we've been trading this chart pretty well. Did take profits yesterday because this does look like that you're forming a triangle. And the downside is if you're a bear in the room, unless you think that the manipulators are spooking us out. In a downtrend, this triangle has a 66% chance of breaking down, and then it'll find support at previous lows, which would be around $3,400. There is a 33% chance that this breaks up, and that means you'd get above this moving averages and head towards $4,500 once again, which is what we want to see because we need to see above $5,000 ETH before things get exciting. So we're in a wait and see movement here. Obviously, we have the Fed talking a little later about crypto and stablecoins, which should affect Ethereum in a big way. But from a pure TA perspective, you have neutral indicators and you have a triangle after a drop. This is like a 66% chance of this falling lower. And, of course, everybody will say the top's in, but you'll find support around $3,400 bounce, and then you'll go to new all-time highs after that occurs. So I'm rooting for this to be a fake out, but some trading bags were taking off the table. Now, what are some things on Ethereum that could stop that from happening? We know that Ethereum reserves on centralized exchanges have hit another new all-time low. That means that spot availability of Ethereum on all your favorite centralized exchanges is at all-time low. So at some point, there is going to be a supply shock. If any amount of retail comes in, if institutions can't buy OTC and they're forced to buy off centralized exchanges, there just isn't ETH out there available to buy. And what do you know? This morning, Bitminer bought another 63,000 Ethereum worth $251 million. I said, hey guys, don't forget about SBET sitting on 75 million as well. And right after I tweeted that, SBET tweeted out, hey guys, we actually bought another 19,271 ETH at $3,892. So they're also buying the dip They still have another 35 million in cash here at Sharplink Gaming, and I think they still have over 100 million in cash over at BitMine. But we need other buyers besides these two, because obviously these two buying the dip has not stopped Ethereum going lower. So I still think a lot of macros to benefit the Ethereum, but there needs to be some good Fed news from these stablecoins to hold and invalidate this technical analysis here, because a lot of people probably see this formation and they understand, hey, I'm going to stand aside because there is a high probability that this does break down. But like I said, the macros look good for Ethereum. This chart just looks a little ugly. You need to get above $4,100 to invalidate this pattern, and we can continue to head higher.
Well, you know what's gonna be required for ETH to have a sustained move above 4,000? Bitcoin's got to move higher, right? It's all kind of tied together, folks. So Bitcoin, actually, if you think about it, Ethereum, I think, has shown remarkable strength in light of this Bitcoin crash that we've had. Bitcoin's at what, 108 right now? We were at 126. That's a pretty big move down. I think Bitcoin is down.
It's just under
bigger.
20% from top to bottom with the wicks.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I think Ethereum's down a bit less. So to me, I think Ethereum's showing strength. Maybe you can fact check that, but to me, Ethereum's showing strength. But it doesn't really matter because it's going to take Bitcoin. It's going to take some rotation from gold into Bitcoin, right? We're still in phase zero. We're still in phase zero according to that influencer. I think there's some truth to it. And we got to get the Fed to act. I know they're having a speech today. I don't know if that moves in markets more than just, quick move up and then maybe a move back down. But we'll have to see what the Fed Governor Chris Waller has to say for himself. I'm happy that meeting's happening. Maybe we can move that story in a minute. But yeah, Ethereum is going to take Bitcoin to move, guys. That's how it always works. And we're waiting on gold to move first.
Yeah, and down here you can see the green candle. This is where we told you to probably rotate to Ethereum and it will outperform Bitcoin. That was literally nearly at the exact low. And slowly but surely, Ethereum keeps stair-stepping higher against Bitcoin, underperforming as of late, but this could be a bull flag and Ethereum start to outperform again leading into the end of this year. This is how we came up with the prediction of 22,000 Ethereum if Bitcoin achieves 244,000, and that would be based off of Ethereum getting back to its highs up here of like a 9-to-1 ratio, meaning 9 Ethereum for every 1 Bitcoin. That's how you kind of get around that $22,000 ETH. Some people say, oh, no, that's not possible at all. But, I mean, if you look at history, they're saying, well, there's just so much other options. Why would Ethereum catch up again? If you look at the last cycle, this is the last cycle. If correct me if I'm wrong. When Ethereum was up here at the highs again, BNB already existed. Solana existed. Polygon, Pulse Chain, all these things are already out in the market. And Ethereum still was able to get to like an 8-to-1, 9-to-1 ratio. So, the thesis of, oh, there's so many more options. Why would Ethereum moon now? It's like all those same options, all the big players already existed last cycle. And now Ethereum has institutional backing, Ethereum strategic reserves, which it didn't have, and stablecoin narratives where the government is embracing that. And all those are pushing for Ethereum. None of that existed last cycle. So I don't think Ethereum getting back to just this ratio is that far out of the question. And if Ethereum breaks out and goes to new all-time highs, well, that's how you get crazy numbers on Ethereum that Thomas Lee is talking about. That's like the 60K Ethereum prices that's been floating around there by Thomas Lee and Arthur Hayes. I'm just looking for, hey, Bitcoin go to 240,000, Ethereum gets to 20,000 and outperforms Bitcoin on the upside for the remaining of this bull cycle. I don't think that's that crazy.
Yeah, and I don't buy this notion that Ethereum is underperforming because there's so many incredible competitors out there that's just eating Ethereum's lunch. You have Ethereum and you have Solana. What's another chain that really is a viable long-term chain
BSC.
That's not just like a quick money grab or like a dinosaur chain that's no one really building on? Ethereum's got all the stable coins. It's got the institutional adoption. It's got the buy-in from Wall Street. It just has a lot going for it that I just think these new upstart chains they're never gonna catch up. Solana, you could argue maybe, but Solana really was just relying on degens and memes. What's the staying power on Solana, right? So I don't think Ethereum's in danger of being beaten by a competitor over the long term anyway. Maybe we'll see some outperformance here and there, some smaller layer 2s or upstart layer 1s at times, but from a longevity standpoint, tried and true, Ethereum's got the buy-in from Wall Street and the institutions, and I just don't see that changing anytime soon.
Yeah, it's hard to dethrone Ethereum. for all the reasons you just said. But I think the battle is far from over. Most of these L1s right now, despite the fact they have, you know, essentially no users, no network activity, or very little, no dApps, no real utility for their network whatsoever. They got a shitload of cash. Most of these guys are sitting on hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in cash. Cardano, I believe, has over $1 billion. Aptos, I think's got like $500 million. Barachain's got like three or 500 million. Yeah, it's hard to argue
got
with.
$1 billion.
Yeah, it's hard to argue against Ethereum or BSC or whatever, but I don't know. These guys ain't going away. Like I said, my best scenario is the cycle extends longer than normal, and then we get a billionaire dick swinging competition and a Coinbase and Cardano and BNB and Barachain and Aptos and ZK Sync and all of these guys that have been sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars all go after it, and they're trying to fight over all these new users coming on, new projects being launched, and cash is just flying around left, right, and center. Because at the end of the day, the real winners are guys like us and this Crypto Paradise fam that have been, grinding it out day in and day out. We haven't missed a day, in cycles. We're going to be the guys who are here in the right places, watching the right trends, being able to take advantage of this and make that beach money, baby.
Beach money, that's what we're here for. I think on a shorter time horizon, if you're just talking about like within the crypto industry itself and like which chain is going to attract a bunch of degens and a bunch of volume that want to trade memes, yeah, it could be any number of those chains for sure. But do you seriously think Barachain is going to overtake Ethereum for stable coins that like Walmart wants to issue?
No, definitely not for stable coins.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what I'm saying. Long term, over like 10 years, dude, I can almost guarantee you that every chain alive today, outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum and maybe Solana and BNB chain, almost all of them will be dead and gone. Look at the CMC. Rewind 10 years ago to 2016, 2017, and look at the top 100 coins. They're almost all different from today, and it's actually no different than the regular stock market too. Stock market might take 30 years, but if you look 30 years ago, there's almost none that are in the S&P 500, the top 10 assets that were the same 30 years. So expect change, expect new players to come in, but I just feel like Bitcoin and Ethereum are here to stay over the long haul, and anything, the other chains are maybe shorter term plays, and anyone's guess is what's going to happen with those.
Well, one that has withstood the test of time somehow is XRP and Ripple. I don't know, again, how they do it. But what do you know? The co-founder did what? They offloaded another 50 million XRP worth $120 million on your head yesterday while the market is down off the highs. I don't understand how XRP has done it. They've remained in the top 5, top 10 now since like 2017. They continue to dump on your head. And I believe this one co-founder alone, Chris Larson, has sold over $700 million worth of XRP on your head. And, I made a joke here. They're going to continue to sell XRP on your head until they all run out of tokens from the insiders. Then they're just going to leave Ripple and launch a new token. Remember that the insiders of XRP also are the insiders on XLM, Stellar Lumens. Not as many people talk about Stellar Lumens, but Stellar Lumens is in the top 20 assets as well, and they sell all those tokens on your head as well. So it's wild to me how Stellar Lumens and XRP have remained in the top 10, top 20 consistently for a decade now, even though they have sold billions and billions of dollars openly with their public addresses directly on your face. Maybe that's how they do it, is all the blue-collar workers FOMO into these assets. They don't understand blockchain technology, and they can't read these charts and see that the insiders are just dumping billions straight on your face.
9 out of 10 times when I have a normie friend ask me about crypto, they bring up XRP or they send me one of these shitty XRP shill videos where it's like, XRP guaranteed $2,000 a token, quantum banking, blah, 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 all the bullshit that's every single one of them repeats. Again, get credit where credit's due. XRP has obviously done an amazing job marketing to the non-crypto retail, and that is why they are where they are. But like dirtbags, like constantly dumping on you, hiring the most sleazy, scammy, like shillers out there, talking about mathematically impossible numbers for them to hit. Yes, XRP is going to be worth more than the entire economy of the world. Cool. That makes sense. $10,000 a token, right? But without fail, every time, literally, my cousin this week sent me an XRP video. Hey, what do you know? It's like, I'm getting into crypto, blah blah blah. What do you know about this coin? I'm just like, no, damn you, XRP.
That literally is the request, though. It's like, oh, I'm getting into crypto. What do you think about XRP? And I don't even know how to reply. It's like, yeah, it's not one I want to own. I think you should just buy Ethereum, Bitcoin, or Solana, or anything else besides XRP. Again, XRP was written off and dead, just sitting down here floundering at 45 cents while all other alts were down as well. And they created this manipulation pump from 45 cents up to $2.50, and now it's just sitting here chilling. But this pump right here got all the blue-collar workers back into the game, back into XRP, and now they're dumping hundreds of millions right on your head after it's already fallen, 25% off the highs. Wild.
Gold. How are we looking on the gold chart? Just want to give a shout out to Hans and everyone's watching the show. Appreciate you guys. We already did cover gold a little bit. Looks toppy. Looks like a double top. Looks like a bearish chart. Let's see if money rotates into Bitcoin. It only takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% for us to skyrocket $250,000 Bitcoin, guys.
Yeah, new lower lows on the 4-hour. This is kind of what we went over with the chart. You have a double top there. You have a lower low on the 4-hour. This would be all indications that you continue lower because you do got more room on the RSI, more room on the tech. And back to the $4,000 level, this, 3,900, 4,000 would make a lot of sense. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully the people taking profits are watching Crypto Paradise and they are crypto natives, meaning sell your gold, buy Bitcoin, or if you like what we say, sell your gold and buy Ethereum, as we think Ethereum is going to continue to outperform Bitcoin the remainder of this cycle.
Oprah's selling her gold. Oprah's selling. Get out now.
She's already taken over the world. She Hawaii burns. She buys all the burnt land. I mean, that's just what Oprah does. Now, she probably owns the gold mines in fucking Africa. Let's be honest.
What else we got on deck for today, guys? We got the Coinbase story about the NFT. I know we got the Fed meeting happening today. What else we got on deck?
I don't know anything on Pulse Chain. I got the Vox bubble map up here. Let me share that quick. Check in on who's moving today.
Yeah, and Pulse Chain was all the news because, remember, almost all of the strategic reserve Ethereum has now been moved either through Tornado Cash or to Fresh Wallets. That was over 650 million worth of ETH. There is about 3 million worth of ETH left in the strategic reserve, probably because they want to be in the top 50 for marketing purposes over there. When will that ETH be sold for cash? Will that cash make it to Pulse Chain? We shall see. But what you see here on the Pulse Chain mini map here.
Alien up 10 and almost 10.5% today. Obviously, we've been big fans of Alien, showed them quite a bit here. WHETH, not sure what the WHETH is there. Elon's up almost 20% today. Looks like some of the memes are bouncing around a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, nothing much for the large caps, as I do see the large caps are all down about 2 to 3% today, so that's why they're not big up there. I know Surf is also down about 3 or 4%.
Yeah, we need to see clear evidence of some of this $600 million plus or whatever it is moving into Pulse Chain, right? I think everyone's sort of just waiting on that, and who knows? Maybe Richard's waiting on people to sort of sell out and cheat out, and then he'll do it. I don't know, but I don't see Pulse Chain making a big move up until we get clear confirmation that the 700, at least a portion of that 700 million, is being used and deployed within Pulse Chain.
Yeah, I mean, Pulse Chain's still putting in higher lows. I don't know if that ETH makes its way over until when? Until ETH gets above 5,000. I mean, Richard, we're here saying you need ETH above 5,000 for anything to happen, okay? Richard Hart himself in tweets like a week ago said, people don't like selling things for cheaper than they bought them. And we know Ethereum, a lot of that Ethereum, I think, was bought between like 3,800 to 4,800 ETH. So, he's probably telling you, hey, I'm getting prepped. I moved ETH around. You can't wallet track me anymore. But I don't want to sell this ETH if I think ETH is about to go on a run. I want ETH to go on a run first and then sell it for more money and full port it into Pulse Chain. So, I mean, I still just think Ethereum 5,000 is very important for the entire crypto market, including Pulse Chain.
Hey, we want to see him do that too.
Yeah, let's go ETH. That's why we're rooting for it. And thank you, Tom Lee. Thank you, Joe Lubin, for buying the dip. I think that was another story on the docket today. Maybe we may have already covered it, but great to see those guys coming as dip buyers compared to Michael Saylor, who tends to buy the tops. Seems like Tom Lee might be a little bit of a better investor, a little better trader than Michael Saylor. But here's another story about adoption, some real world adoption. What do we got here, Nate?
Walmart of all places, and we've heard rumors of Walmart implementing their own stable coin, but now announced that Walmart is going to be accepting Bitcoin, Ethereum, and of course XRP for whatever reason. Over 150 million users can now use crypto for payments at Walmart. I'm assuming that's both online and at the store. It mentions the OnePay Cash. Not sure what OnePay Cash is. I'm assuming it is via one of the wallet apps. Most wallet apps that you can download onto your phone have a QR scanner now, or a receipt scanner where you can transfer from directly from one of your wallets to pay for things. Awesome seeing the adoption. But as we've mentioned many times, if I catch you spending your Bitcoin or your Ethereum on freaking garbage at Walmart, I'm gonna smack you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the usage of for monetary purposes isn't always bullish, because Walmart is just going to sell these assets for cash instantly. Unless Walmart announces, hey, we want to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve, an ETH strategic reserve, an XRP strategic reserve, well, then that's a totally different thing, because that means that people are spending it. They're going to be keeping a portion of that on their books for their AUM, because remember, now companies in the United States can use crypto holdings on their books. Like, that can be utilized as business revenue and business holdings, which maybe they will do. But I think the biggest thing here is OnePay Cash can be connected to EBT. I'm very against food stamps and government subsidies. But if the government starts buying Bitcoin and ETH and then uses that for the government subsidies so these people can sell it, use it at Walmart, I'm okay with that.
Well, yeah. But this, I think, what you were just saying there would go to show how important it is not to spend your Bitcoin on stuff like this. If Walmart's doing this because they want to create a strategic reserve, what does that tell you that you should be doing? Not spending your your Bitcoin on shit at Walmart.
Yeah, they should definitely enable stable coins. That's really what they should do here. Maybe they have and just wasn't mentioned in the story, but absolutely you should be able to spend USDC, USDT. That's what, if you want to do that, go ahead and do that. Use your stable coins for everyday purchases. But I think you guys are reading too deep into this. Like, put yourself in the shoes of your cousin, for example, who just reached out to Nate saying, what I'm new to crypto, what should I buy? This is the kind of story that newbies and novices, they love to see. Yo, guys, do you see Walmart's accepting crypto now? We're going to the moon. So, I don't know. I think sometimes we're too jaded. We're too grizzled industry veterans now. We're just like cynical bastards. Like, this ain't going to do shit. Don't spend your Bitcoin. This is stupid. But I'm telling you, the novices, 2017 Ian would have loved this story. Let me tell you.
Oh, definitely. I think bullish overall. And, again, like you said, it's great headline, gets great publicity. Walmart's a massive name. It legitimizes crypto. We went just 2 years ago. Bitcoin is for scammers. Crypto is full of charlatans. We had the head of the SEC, Gary Gensler, telling us that we're all a bunch of criminals every other day. We had the entire administration going after this industry, saying it's nothing but scammers and criminals and fraudsters, etc. Now Walmart's accepting Bitcoin. Now the U.S. vice president, like we covered yesterday, is saying Bitcoin and crypto is here to stay in America. It's a foundational part of our economy now. These are the kind of things that are going to continue to legitimize things to where that boomer mindset of I need to go stand in line and buy gold when it's at an all-time high and it just ripped, it's super overheated, and buy a physical yellow rock to stick in my basement, to, hey, maybe I should get some exposure to Bitcoin and crypto.
We're talking about Gary Gensler.
The crowd loved that spiel a little bit too much.
Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler used to teach at MIT, and he actually taught about blockchain technology and Bitcoin and ETH. And that's why so many people hated him, because he went from being pro-crypto to then working for the SEC and shitting on crypto. Well, guess what? Gary Gensler is back teaching at MIT, and although it's not crypto-specific this time, his new role focuses on artificial intelligence, finance, and financial technology. That's as close to supporting blockchain and Bitcoin and Ethereum as you can get. And it just shows you Gary Gensler was, in fact, a shill for his salary, and that's why he looked like he was about to die anytime he was on the docket to talk against Bitcoin and Ethereum for all those years. So, pretty wild. Gary Gensler shat on our ecosystem forever, and now he's back to MIT teaching about it once again.
Here's an idea. Instead of listening to some 65-year-old boomer drone on about how everything in crypto and AI and blockchain and new tech is a scam and it's going to get you wrecked and buy gold, how about you tune into Crypto Paradise and you learn something every day? We'll give you free lessons, folks. Free class. Class is in session, and we're going to make money together. How's that sound?
Well, speaking of high quality podcasts and streamers that you can listen to educate yourself on Web3. Big news today. 2 stories breaking about Kobe. If you're not familiar with Kobe, he's a super OG dev in the space. Bought Bitcoin, I think, back it was under $100. Dude's very, very rich, but he's very famous for being funny, a very dry sense of humor, but also extremely intelligent. And good dev. Well, 2 stories breaking about him today. The first was about his Up Only podcast. He and I can't remember the other guy's name. Had a podcast called Up Only. It did fairly well. I mean, as far as crypto podcasts go, I think at its peak and at the end of the 2021 cycle, there was 100,000 viewers or something like that regularly. So, obviously not bad, but nothing on the level of Joe Rogan or any of the top podcasts in the world. Well, apparently, Kobe really wasn't one for the spotlight, didn't like the grind of the podcast, retired, and despite many thousands of fans constantly harassing him and haranguing him to start the podcast again, he refused to. And so much so that as a joke, he started an NFT a few months ago saying, when someone buys this $25 million up-only NFT and burns it, then I will start doing the podcast again. And on top of that, like whoever buys it has no rights on the show to tell them what to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It was literally just a joke trying to say, haha, no one's ever going to spend 25 million. This is the only way you'll get me to come back and do this again. Well, lo and behold, Coinbase, Brian Armstrong stepped in today, bought and burned the NFT. So we will be getting 8 new episodes of the Up Only podcast. But thought it was kind of funny here. They're breaking it down, saying he is now the highest paid podcaster in the world. If you break it down per episode, roughly 8 episodes, a little over $3 million per episode, with a $25 million ticket there, comparing it to Joe Rogan, Call Her Daddy, and some of the other big podcasts out there. Now, as funny and amazing as a story as that is, everyone's kind of like, why? What? This doesn't make any sense. What's going on? Why would Coinbase go out? We know Brian Armstrong has a lot of money. Does he really love Kobe that much that he just wants to, as a joke, make him, spend $25 million to make him go start podcasting again? Well, less than 24 hours later, it is announced that Echo, which is Kobe's, it's some kind of like venture fundraising perps thing. I don't really know what it does. I haven't heard of it before, but apparently it's generating some sort of hype and revenue because Coinbase came out today saying they just acquired it for $375 million. That 25 on top seems like a nice round 400 million. Hard to believe that those 2 deals are not somehow tied together, but many people tweeting, we're back. Kobe's coming back on air, going to save the markets. Well, for $400 million, I'd come back and start podcasting too.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this shows you that Coinbase is serious about trying to have a base season. Probably this also lines up with the timing of there's been rumors of a base airdrop coming. How much better would it be to now you have another perps deck you bought out? You have Kobe coming back for 8 episodes. You're probably the lead sponsor considering you bought the $25 million NFT. Now, I know he says, well, you have no say on what we're going to talk about, but, you just got paid $400 million. 400 million reasons on why Coinbase, maybe Base Chain, maybe Echo will be the spotlight for those things. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But, yeah, $3 million per episode when Joe Rogan's earning like $1 million per episode. That's pretty crazy. And I can't believe Call Her Daddy makes $1 million per episode, more than Joe Rogan. I guess
Insane.
that is very Democrat funded. That was the politicians and Kamala trying to make that relevant. I don't know.
Probably. This is my favorite take.
But good for Kobe. Good for Kobe. And good for crypto, man. Like, I'm happy to see these kind of funny stories popping up. There's still some big swinging dicks out there that are willing to write checks, buy perps platforms, buy absurd NFTs, and get these stories back in the news. Does this spur retail to start caring about crypto again? I doubt it. I think retail wants to see crypto actually go up in price. They don't really care if Kobe's back live streaming or not. But happy to see Brian Armstrong out there doing what he can, doing his best imitation of CZ to spur on some sort of alt season.
Well, I think we're starting to see that the chain ecosystem deployment battles heat up. Aster got acquired by Binance not too long ago. Just back in August, I believe. Here comes Coinbase. They're picking up their perps, whatever it is that Echo is, for 400 million. I have another story here that we'll just pop over real quick because it's in the same line. Solana is building a perp dex called Percolator, right? All of these chains with tons and tons of money are slowly starting to deploy, and I think once they get their foundation, their base set, then we see the funding shift from buying things like perp dexes and building the infrastructure. Okay, now let's get the projects, let's get the users, let's push the retail, let's get some hype going on the chain there. I think
But
it's
the
going to
problem
happen
is
slowly
this,
all at
Nate.
once.
If the product itself that they're all pushing is just perp dexes, that's not really good for retail. That's just a casino on steroids. Let's bet on the price of Bitcoin up and down. We don't actually own any of the Bitcoin. Just imagine Bitcoin price go up or down. If I bet right, I make money. If I bet wrong, I lose money to the exchange and to the guy who happened to bet right. So this is meme season on steroids, or maybe even worse than meme season from a retail standpoint.
That's
if
what
you
the
can
people
imagine that.
want.
So I don't know, man. Like
The reason-
I'm missing the halcyon days of like, let's change the world with crypto. Let's build decentralized Airbnb and Uber without a middleman, and let's bring pharmaceutical supply chains onto the blockchain and reduce all these fees and this and that. Now it's let's just gamble on the price go up or down. I mean, my God, is this what it's come to, folks?
Yeah,
I think
perp
that's
dexes
what
are-
comes next. I think this again, kind of the infrastructure layer. Right now with all the perp dex, from what I'm seeing, the reason they're going after perp dexes is because the perp dexes are finally starting to tear market share away from the centralized exchanges, which have been the cash cows for these big networks to this point. So they don't want to lose. Hyperliquid's taking all this market share, so Binance will go, we got to get some of that back, even if it takes away from Binance.com, Binance US. At least it's staying on BNB. At least it's staying within our ecosystem. Well, so everybody else now has to do the same thing. We all got to get our own perp dexes, so we can all kind of get our hands on, keep all that money from flying out of our ecosystem. So
that benefits the networks, but it doesn't really benefit the underlying tokens. That's the problem. It's like, now you don't even have to. The whole reason you invest in crypto, it's like there's a finite supply with set inflation or deflationary token economics, and you get supply shock in crypto, and that's why prices go up. Because when more people believe, you buy and hold. Now that market supply shrinks, supply shock price goes to the moon. When you have these perp dexes, you don't have to own any spot, or you own very little spot. And like you said, you're just gambling on up or down. You're not believing in anything. You're not building positions, and you're not taking supply off the market. And that's why I think partially why a lot of altcoins have floundered. It's like there isn't holders anymore. There isn't believers. It's just all short-term mindset, JEETs, meme coins, perp dexes. Like, where are the buyers and holders? Where's the supply shock in crypto that crypto is known for? Maybe that's coming. Like I said, I agree with you that why the perp dex are being created, but I just think for the average retail, you're getting shaken out, and you have 1,000 people with $1,000 in the market. They all get liquidated, and it goes to 5 people, which is usually the house.
Yeah, house always wins in those scenarios, guys. You better know that. Don't do leverage trading unless you're very, very, very good at it, because you will get wrecked otherwise. Even the very good guys got wrecked, 2 weeks ago? I mean, you saw all those accounts coming out saying, I've been doing this 10 years. I had a, $10 million account I built up over time, and it's gone overnight. Like, my God, can you imagine that? So stay away unless you're very, very good, or you're just using a small portion of your overall portfolio to play around and maybe learn and try to get good. I got no issues with that. But gambling, guys, is not a smart way to make money. Smart way to make money is buy and hold spot. I know we're bemoaning, the state of the market, state of the industry. It's just a bunch of short-termism, and there's a lot of truth to that. But I still believe in this asset class over the long haul. I still believe in Bitcoin as the digital gold. I still believe in Ethereum as the digital oil. Solana as the digital oil that's like the shitty ethanol version. And maybe that's it from an altcoin stand, Pulse Chain, because Richard Hart's a Chad, right? So I still believe in the underlying value of certain assets, but man, this industry has really come a long way from back when I first got involved, when we were trying to change the world.
Yeah, I think we'll get all that still. It's just an issue we've talked about many times over the last couple months. The venture model is broken right now, and nobody has a solution. Until we can get people excited about investing in companies again, these companies can have all the ideas they want. If they can't get funding, then they're SOL. We haven't had a pre-sale market, haven't had an IDO market.
Because you haven't had secondary market buyers, right? Like if I'm a VC and I'm looking to buy into a pre-sale, my expectation is return on investment at some point down the line when the token finally launches. But if there is no secondary market buyers, then quickly the token, all there was pre-sale people. They hold a bunch of tokens, sell, price goes down, I'm underwater, I got wrecked. So until you have secondary market buyers, I don't think pre-sales are coming back. But
that's what I mean. I think
the perp dexes to make money and they're not buying tokens anymore, then how are we going to get this? Now you could argue, okay, we need $5,000 ETH, we need new retail money coming in, we need Fed rate cuts, Donald Trump legislation, all those things, which I think there's a lot of truth to that. But man, these perp dexes, and to a lesser extent memes, have left me a little bit salty around altcoins. Glad I held on to Bitcoin, glad I held on to ETH, but man, it's just been brutal if you've been an altcoin bag holder for the past few years.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know the solution, but the old VC model is broken. Until we find a way around that, it's going to continue to, be Bitcoin and top alts. I miss it. I mean, the pre-sales were fun. Get involved, learn about new projects, meeting founders, watching the pre-sales launch. Like that was not only, interesting. And like you said, we're seeing actual potential, world-changing technology being built and people trying to solve real problems. But it was a lot of fun. It was a fun way to try and make money in this market too, versus, I'm not a 110x kind of, gambler, so it's got a lot of sit and wait.
Patience. My first, middle, and last name. At risk of sounding too bearish, you guys know I'm the perma bull on this industry. I'm still extremely bullish on Bitcoin and crypto. But I think it's important to call it how you see it, right? And just be brutally honest with the people. Right now, the industry is way too focused on the short-termism. It's too focused on trying to make a quick buck. Now, it's to the detriment of folks like us, builders. We like to invest in companies. We like to support our investments, try to provide them a bit of exposure on the marketing side. Try to build up community. I mean, I enjoy these things. Like Nate said, I love doing that. But it just hasn't been there. I do think it will turn around, though. We need Bitcoin to be, back at near all-time highs. We need Ethereum over 5,000. Retail will come back, and I don't think Nate's cousin, for example, will immediately jump into the perp dex market when they first get involved in crypto. They're going to be looking to buy spot on companies and visions that they truly believe in.
Well, one trend that's hopefully dead, and I think this kind of ties back into the Coinbase Kobe NFT and illustrates that point good. Cook Capital, one of my favorite shit posters out there, posting Coinbase just paid $25 million for an NFT, bringing the total NFT volume for 2025 to 25.3 million. Amazingly bullish for the cartoon industry. So NFTs, I think, are dead and gone, and for good reason, good riddance. Arrivederci.
You guys know my take on NFTs. It's art, guys. Art's great if you love art. Art's not great if you love investing and making money on investing. So I do think there is a possibility that at the height of the mania, and everyone's made so much on Bitcoin and Ethereum and memes, and well, most people won't have made money trading perps, but some people will have anyway, that they'll be like, yeah, now I can spend money on stupid stuff like art. So it may happen. It may happen, but right now NFTs are dead, and you won't see me buying any anytime soon.
Before we get to this meme here, Nate, when you were just showing the other screen, talking about layer 1s and layer 2s struggling, Arbitrum, a big layer 2, had 56 live viewers. Us, little old Crypto Paradise, had 126. So we are over double the viewership of Arbitrum. Pretty wild.
Hey, shout out to all you guys. Tune
the
in.
Official gold check mark Arbitrum.
Out. We're doing this every single day till Valhalla, guys. We're going to give you the real news. We're going to give you the analysis on the charts. Hopefully make you laugh. Don't forget, we're giving away free trips to Paradise, too, if you guys want to take a vacation on Crypto Paradise. I keep trying to get people to go take a free vacation. Why is it so hard to get you guys to take a free vacation? Can someone in the chat box explain to me why you don't want to go down to Tulum, Mexico, and hang out in my condo for 5 nights absolutely free. Can someone fucking tell me this? This is crazy. It's getting cold. Guys, it's fucking cold out right now. And you know how warm it is down in Tulum on the beach? It's like 85 and sunny every day. This is crazy. This is crazy. Get in our DMs. Get in the Telegram. Get your 200,000 serve and find us on that beach.
Yeah, I think you need to get 200,000 surf because of a multitude of reasons. The DAO group, free vacation. There's hints of a project that's going to be launching a pulse chain that is going to airdrop a portion of their supply to anybody with 200,000 surf or more. Frontier Fund keeps winning for us, so you need 400,000 surf for that. We'll get a lot of short-term videos, short-form videos up about surf and everything that's going on there and why price is so cheap right now and all the benefits you get by holding that token. So if you're watching this and you don't own 200,000 surf or 400,000 surf, I think you're going to miss out on riding the wave of green candles, plus all of the profits that you get simply by being a surf holder as well.
But Ben loves it. Great idea. Granted, he did say that 15 minutes ago, but I think it's more appropriate now. More appropriate comment now. So, Roan, we got it. You know what we should do? We got to get a fund. We got to get a GoFundMe going to actually help pay for
The flight
the
as well.
folks to fly down there. I get it. It's not cheap to fly there. I mean, I understand that, especially if you're coming from Europe. But look, we're pre-rich, guys. We are pre-rich. So I do think by like February or March, when the weather's still bad in most places in the world, you'll have enough money to afford the free flight. I'm sure Jeff Bezos could afford a free flight. What do you think?
Oh, I'm sure you could find some extra scratch somewhere.
Oh boy!
You want to explain this meme, Nate, or what? You pull it up.
So yeah, yesterday we were talking about the internet being shut down. It was the East Coast one hub of AWS got shut down. Obviously Amazon Web Services, one of the largest cloud hosting organizations in the world, up there with Azure and with Google Cloud. But yeah, something I can't remember what percentage of the internet was not usable yesterday. We had trouble even launching our live stream yesterday as Riverside was using their servers. Ethereum had trouble yesterday running validators and nodes. A lot of their RPC, I had to access my wallets. I had to switch around to like 4 different RPC sites to get my MetaMask wallet to work on Ethereum network. And there's been a lot of debates. Is Ethereum decentralized? Is it not decentralized? Well, this was, I thought, a pretty good meme here. Select all of the Ethereum validators, and it's all pictures of Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, the king of AWS. So I don't know, for anybody that's a little bit slightly technical into crypto, into decentralization, I thought that was pretty funny and at least something to maybe in on a positive.
The chain itself is still decentralized. I think it's just the tooling and the stuff that's built on top of it or integrated into it, like your MetaMask, right, which requires like all these RPC providers and different infrastructures, like Infura, for example. Like they all are running on AWS. So yeah, I mean, we're not going to escape Web 2 as an industry. It's not going to be completely decentralized anytime soon, in my view. There's been attempts to build decentralized versions of RPC providers and of Infura, for example, but those sort of fell flat on their face. So I guess we are still relying on dear Jeff Bezos for our decentralization. Finland and Mexico ain't cheap. I know, bro. I know. We got to get you rich. We got to get everybody rich. And then it's like, okay, now I can afford a vacation. So I totally do get it. For those who are closer, I mean, there's people in our community who live like down in Texas. It's not that expensive. There's direct flights out of Houston. I know that for a fact. Meek Chapo wants to go too. I believe he's Canadian. How cold it is in Canada right now, Meek Chapo? Probably pretty fucking cold. So would love to have you down by the beach. I know everyone's feeling the pinch. I'm sure you want a DCA. I get that. But at the end of the day, money, it's numbers on a screen, right? Numbers on a screen doesn't really equate to true happiness in my experience. It's nice to have big numbers. It's better. You do feel better when the numbers are big. But you know what's true happiness? Sipping a pina colada, nice breeze. You know what I mean? Bringing you tacos, you jumping into a pool, kids are having a great time, wife's smiling. That is happiness, folks. So don't sleep on that. I get you're trying to DCA, but there's more to life than money on the screen.
think we kind of covered a lot. We'll see what happens and what comes out of these Fed meetings. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of clips. We'll maybe post it on our Twitter feed on where you can watch it live. And I think it's kind of underway. At least the opening remarks are underway. And if that's the case, so far the markets are liking it. Bitcoin up to 110,000. Ethereum has bounced up another $100. And let's tune into what these remarks is going on. It's an event that is occurring all day, has some of the brightest people from not only crypto, but also the institutions and from the government talking about crypto, talking about Bitcoin, talking about stable coins. And I don't think there's going to be any mind-melting revelations happening today, but I think every one of these that occurs opens up the minds and the wallets of the big players, and that messaging does get passed down to retail, and we'll see what happens here. So far, the market's liking it. Bitcoin, $110,800. Ethereum trying to fight its way back to $4,000.
Well, let's make some predictions real quick, right? Because Watcher Guru, I love Watcher Guru, breaking all the news right here on my Telegram. Fed looks into payment accounts that would grant crypto and fintech companies access to Fed payment rails. Oh, so wait. If I'm understanding that correctly, that's not saying that the Fed is going to be running on blockchain payments, but the other way around? I don't know. Let's get some clarification on that news. But yeah, I mean, look, this meeting, I think it's going to be a lot of chumminess, a lot of patting each other on the back, and let's talk about the innovation, and let's talk about the future of finance and integrating the Fed and what the Fed does with blockchain technology. I think it's all going to be a big old circle jerk. I don't know if we're going to get any sort of concrete policy changes coming out of it. Let's see. The big policy changes I'm looking for, let's get that bill approved that will allow everyday Americans to invest in crypto through their 401k. That is the big policy we need to change to create that moon mission. We also need the comprehensive crypto legislation, the second part of the Genius Act, essentially, right? Genius Act was part one, then they have the comprehensive legislation, that's part two. We need to get that passed into law, right? And then let's see what the Fed does with some of this stuff today. Out of the meeting. I'm a little skeptical that we're gonna have some groundbreaking news. It's gonna be more chumminess, pats on the back, and circle jerks.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Zcash trying to go to a new all-time high here, trying to break out above that high it just made, which was $297. Zcash, the silent bull market is happening with privacy tokens. Zcash, and the one that we've got you guys in is Zen. We gave you buys at 750, 650, 640. And $9.50 before the breakout to $18, and currently sitting at $12.23. Been kind of following the performance of Zcash. So if it catches up to Zcash on a breakout, that means Zen will achieve $20 for the first time in quite, I think, like over a year. So
the Zcash story is interesting, right? Because from a layperson's perspective, and even my initial take was, oh wow, look, organic pump. People must love privacy again. Wow, what a wonderful story in the midst of this hellish period for alts. We have a bright spot. Apparently, though, this may be actually just orchestrated by whales and sort of the result of a coordinated shill by a bunch of top influencers. I read a story yesterday on X. It was an influencer basically outing that they had been approached to essentially help pump Zcash. Whether there's truth to that, there was like one screenshot, so I don't, to me, that wasn't necessarily proof enough, but he did provide a long post about what happens behind the scenes with some of these, coins, and influencers get approached and they're paid to shill, and that causes a pump, and then the whales are selling into the pump. I don't know. Not to pour cold water on the Zcash pump, but that story did pop on my feed. I didn't pay it a lot of credence, but who knows? It may be coordinated pump, or maybe look, hey. We're doing a marketing campaign.
Everything in crypto, every pump in the market is a coordinated pump. Every pump in crypto is a coordinated pump. People don't just buy just to buy. So, I mean, whatever. What I will say is there was a Bitcoin whale that has bought like $70 million worth of Zcash over the past month. So that's pretty interesting as well. I don't know. It would be nice to just have money that you're like, I want to diversify. Let me throw 70 million of my Bitcoin into a different asset. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Bring in some
a random altcoin that hasn't done anything in like 8 years.
Yeah, and I don't own any Zcash, but we do own Zen. We did get in that, so I'm happy that privacy is doing well. And apparently Monero just came out and said they're going to do an upgrade in the next 6 months. But the upgrade to Monero is pretty much just going to put the current privacy features of Zcash onto Monero. So that's kind of a non-mover as well, but maybe that keeps the privacy sector alive as well. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So far, Zcash looks like wants to break out above $300.
Just to be positive here, I am loving that privacy is back in the news and it's a story again. Because before it was memes, and then it changed to leverage trading and perp dexes, right? I think at least privacy is something that we can talk about as a genuine like human right and a human need, and the industry needs it as well for security purposes, as Nate, cleverly elucidated for us yesterday. So I'm happy that this is happening, but let's just see how long it sustains. I mean, I'm a little skeptical it's going to lead the alt season, but let's see. I could be pleasantly surprised here.
Nate, what do you got? You're muted.
I'll just answered a quick message on Telegram, trying to get us connected with another new project that's looking to chat with Crypto Paradise.
Only privacy coins and perp dexes, okay? We're not taking any other calls.
That's pretty much what it's been. A lot of perp dexes, some RWA plays. You know, that's what the narrative is. So if you can get in early on some of those, you could probably catch a wave of green candles.
Yeah, no, that's what you gotta do, right? The challenge with the pre-sale, though, if this is, I don't know if this is a pre-sale type project, but say it approaches you, it's great. You know, it's checking all the boxes, right narrative, you know, product, everything, team. So you invest. You're like, all right, this is perfect. Checking all the boxes. But then, for whatever reason, they decide to delay.
Right.
Because these fuckers love to delay. Every founder loves to delay the launch ad nauseum, ad infinitum, into infinity and into perpetuity. And so when they do that, then like the whole cycle goes by. 5 new narratives have popped up. It finally launches, and that narrative that was so hot like 8 months ago is dead and gone. So man, I mean, this game ain't easy, folks. This game ain't easy. That's why we've been very cautious and not really pushing pre-sales, not really making many alpha calls. You know, new projects that are launching. We've been a lot more trepidatious and cautious these days around, you know, getting risk on. But man, it's tough out there. Hopefully we can find some gems for you guys.
The hunt continues.
Well, we got a good question from Ron, then we got to end this one because we got a call to get onto. But what's the upside if the 60% downside gets negated? Oh, right, that's a good question. 244K, right? Is the upside?
Oh, I mean, the upside, are we talking about, do you think 66% chance? So we were looking at the Ethereum chart is clearer. Bitcoin doesn't have that same triangle that Ethereum has. So the upside above Ethereum to invalidate that move would be you need to go above 4,100. We're trying to get above 4,000 now. So to invalidate that triangle, you really need ETH to get above 4,100. If that happens, then you're assuming that we start to head to attack the highs again at $4,600 to $4,800. Again, it's been rejected there like 5 or 6 times. Every time it gets rejected there, that overhead resistance gets weaker and weaker because there's less limit orders and less sellers at that level. So when we finally break above that 4,800 level, not only are we going to surge above 5,000 and close above 5,000, but I bet you we get into the mid 5,000s just because it has been rejected there so much. So if you don't want the downside in that triangle to play out, you are rooting for Ethereum to get above that 4,100 level, invalidate that formation, and head higher. So if you have any cash, go market buy ETH if you want that to happen.
Do your part. Do your part, little guys. No. Roan's already in the markets. We know he's in the markets. He's waiting just like the rest of us. You know, got no stables. I got no stables either, my friend. I'm just fully in. All the chips in the market. Let's fucking go. YOLO.
We do get more stables every month because Frontier Fund keeps printing us profits.
I know, but I do have to pay bills,
you know,
those, sadly.
Yeah, I know that's a shill for Frontier Fund, Crypto. I'm going to roll with it, all right? You need 400,000 surf to get in the Frontier Fund. It looks like they're going to have another profitable payout for us in the next few days. We'll be making some videos on that. So every month, you know, without having to bring our real income into it, Frontier Fund keeps paying us some money to keep DCAing into these markets.
That is a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. We're very blessed to have Frontier Fund doing perp trading on our behalf in an expert fashion. That made us a lot of money over the past 3 months. So shout out to those guys. Keep up the good work. Look, we're 8 days away from the Fed rate cut, y'all. We're 8 days away. So, I mean, for those who are like, God, October sucked, and it has kind of sucked, let's just be honest, at least outside of those first, like, week. I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. I think Fed is actually going to come to our rescue. I don't know if it's priced in. You could argue, okay, well, that's all priced in, Amaru. I don't know about that. It doesn't feel priced in. Certainly not into Bitcoin. So Fed to the rescue, 8 days away, 25 basis point guaranteed, 50 basis point on the cards. Let's see, we have inflation data coming out on Friday.
Big
Even
move
though
out of
the government shut
Bitcoin.
down.
Big move out of
Inflation is
Bitcoin
coming
and
out, so we will
gold.
see.
Bitcoin just wicked to 111,000. Gold wicked all the way down to $4,060. Almost like we're live talking about Bitcoin.
Gold to zero.
We don't want gold zero, but gold to consolidate for the next 4 months would be nice. While Bitcoin and Ethereum melt your face. That'd be nice.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if one of our short-term predictions came true? Well, that'd be great.
Another
We've
one.
got some good ones, but man, it's been brutal out here, folks. It's been brutal. We're trying to keep a smile on our faces, keep it happy, cheery, and light for you guys, because I know you don't come here for the doom and gloom. You come here for the bullishness. Absolutely, guys. Great stream today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in live. Thank you, everyone who commented. We appreciate that. Remember to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a family member. We're trying to educate you guys. If one of your family members or friends hits you up asking to invest in XRP, send them our way. Send them this video. We will save them from getting dumped on by Chris Larson.
My gosh. $1 billion that dude's made in the past decade by just dumping XRP. That's not even including the XLM he was given upon launch there either. Jesus, that is wild. Shout out to you, man. Don't hate the player, hate the game, I suppose. Congrats. My God.
Yeah, but stay away from XRP. It's rat poison squared, as Charlie Munger would have loved to say, or was that Warren Buffett? I forget. But in any event, guys, great stream day. We got to jump onto a call, but we'll be back tomorrow at this time.